Little page that I built was created with a new tool I want to introduce you to called Unbounce. And before we go over how Unbounce works, I want you to know that you don't have to use Unbounce to build pages like that. You can build them in simple WordPress blogs, you can build them using lead pages, and you can build them using Megaphone. Because I like technology and I like all this stuff, I just figured I would go ahead and show you another option and another cool tool for you. Believe it or not, I actually use all of the tools that I just mentioned, mainly because I enjoy this stuff. So the benefits of Unbounce are many, and the cons are few. So once you log in here, I think they're about $100 a month, by the way. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, about $100 a month. That's for 25,000 unique visitors every month. If you don't think you're going to get that many, you could spend $49. If you think you're going to get a whole bunch, you can upgrade to $199. I probably upgraded just because, you know, and they all do awesome stuff. And of course, you can have a 30-day trial. So how to sign up for all of these things is relatively self-explanatory. You just fill in some forms and stuff. But when you log in and after you've got an account, here actually is what you'll see. All right, so here's what's cool about Unbounce. So the disadvantage might be the price. Also, there's a lot more to it. You have a lot more customization options, which for some is a big pro. For me, it's a big pro. To others, it might lead to overwhelm. The good news is it can be as simple or as complex as you want. So first of all, they have a very wide array of pre-made templates for you to choose from. So if you wanted an opt-in template, which is pretty cool and which is proven to work fairly well, go with this guy, Bookie Desktop Cyan. This one is a template that our good friend, cousin Trey Smith of GameAcademy.com used to build a list of just tens of thousands of people through pay-per-click advertising. So you see, you just edit all of these elements just like you would with lead pages. It's just a little bit different because you can actually drag them around and totally change this if you want to. So it's pretty simple. Another cool template they have is the old sales letter long. So this is a long form sales letter template. I've used this one for a discount campaign. I'll happily show you how that works later. But as you can see, it's kind of got the layout here, and then you can start editing it after you create the page. Now, what I did in the article that you saw was I used the sales letter template and then I changed quite a bit of stuff around. So let me show you how I did that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose a template. Now, if you don't want to use a template, by the way, you don't have to use a template. You could actually start with a blank page. You can do that up here. So let's go ahead and use the long form sales letter template here. The first thing we're going to do is down here at the bottom left, we'll choose a name. So I'll call this one Demo for my homies, because that's always going to give you a very professional feel if you name your page something like that. And we'll click on Save and Start Editing. So now we're in their page builder. Now here's what's cool. We've got a lot of stuff we can do with this page. Unlike lead pages and Megaphone, we can like completely remove stuff if we want to. So I can just place this like right there if I wanted to, this picture, which of course is silly. We can remove elements. So here's how I built the article that you saw. Right? I just went ahead and I got rid of everything. So I highlighted all the stuff I didn't want, which was I'm just going to hit shift and I'm going to click these elements right here, and I'm going to click on this delete button. So you'll see that got rid of those guys. Now I'm going to click on this header image. I'm going to say delete. Now I've got all this blank space here, so I can just raise it all up. Now notice I have this blank space here. I'll just hit delete. I've got this blank space here. I'll just hit delete, and boom. Now we're looking pretty normal. Now check this out. You'll notice that the page background is just like kind of gray. If we go over here to the right, we can actually change the background. You see where it says background properties? We can change this to, let's say, a blue if we wanted to. I'd hit choose, and now my background is blue. Now that looks weird, so I'm going to go back. Say I'll hit cancel, and I hit Control Z, and that moved me back to the original. So you can see there's all kinds of cool customization we can do. Now, the next thing I did when I created the article is I got rid of everything in here, and I just had a text area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all the stuff on this page here, and I'm just going to hit delete, right? So delete, Scroll down here, delete, and I'll pause the video so you don't have to watch me do this. It only takes a minute, but you don't want to watch that. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. So now we just have this blank white page here that we can put stuff on. And if we want to make this page taller, we can come down here and start dragging this guy down. If we want to make it shorter, we can drag it up, and all of that will sort of display on your web page. But for now, let's just have this blank page. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to add the old, we're going to add the old headline, and we do that by taking this text thing and just dragging it right here in the middle of our big white box. Now, here's where Unbounce gets pretty neat. So now we want to edit this text. Well, we're going to double click it, and when we do, notice that the place where we can type appears below, right? So look at this. Hey, check this out. Now you'll notice I typed down here and it appeared here, but it still doesn't look like a headline. So what do we want to do? Well, I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to center it. Now it's centered. And now that's still highlighted, now notice it's centered up here, it's still highlighted. I got a multitude of stuff I can do. I can select heading 1 as a font style, and that'll make that big. Or I can say go back to normal, and now I can say I want it to be a certain font, and I'll show you exactly what I used. I used one called Arvo for the headline. Then I'll say I want this guy to be a certain size, and let's make this dude 36. Actually, let's make it even bigger. Let's say it's going to be 48. Let's make it even bigger. You want to? Let's say it's going to be 72. Holy crap, that's big, right? And so now, obviously, it looks kind of weird, so we can take this little box and we can just stretch it out here. Ta-da! And now we can make sure it's centered. Now notice when I drag this box around, when it's centered, the green line will show. There we go. So now it's showing that the box is centered. Now, have a look here. Notice there's a lot of space between check and the word out. Well, we can change all of that by changing the line height. So line height is the amount of space between the lines, and that's one thing that Unbounce has. You can really customize dang near everything. So what we're going to do, I'm going to change this line height down to, let's say, well, I changed it to 58. It was a little too tight. So let's change it to 77. That looks pretty good, but let's have a little revamp here and change it to 86. That looks pretty good. So now what do I want to do? Maybe I want to make this even bigger and bolder. So I'll bold it. Oh, I italicize that. Let's bold it, and let's make it red. So I'll just click the text color, and I'll say red. Boom. Now we have a headline, right? So that was pretty simple. So now we have our headline. We're going to add our body copy. So we begin by just dragging another text box, pop it right there. We'll line it up here however you want to do it, right? And we'll expand it to make it a pretty good size. We got our little green line there showing. We have it centered. That's pretty good. It's nice and proportionate with this dude right here. So now we're going to edit the text. And this is where we start typing, right? So we can say this is where we start typing. Okay, and now I'm going to type some text here, and I want to show you how to format it. But I'm not going to make you watch me type it because that'll get horribly boring. So I'm going to pause the video and type a couple paragraphs so I can show you how to make it cool looking. All right, so notice I've typed some stuff here, and the first thing we want to do is we want to make it look pretty cool. So I've got it double clicked down here, which means our text editor is all the way down at the bottom. And I want to select all of this. I'll just double click in here, highlight a word, hit Control A. You can also, run your cursor over all of them if you want to. Just turn it all blue. And I am going to change the font and the size and make this easier to read. I like those bigger fonts. It gets better readership, and readership equals money. Okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll change the font. Now, several fonts I like. One of them that's pretty popular right now, and it's looking pretty good, is a font called Lato. You'll notice it's a little different, but it's still pretty small. So let's get this sucker to be about 20. See there? Now it's pretty big. That's nice. And the space between these lines is set at 32, so that's kind of nice. We can change that. If we made it 26, you'll notice it's a lot closer together. If we make this to 35, we'll notice it's kind of a little too far apart. So I'm going to stick with 32. So it's kind of a good rule of thumb, really. If you're writing an article and you're using Unbounce, try a font size 20 and a line height of 32. Now, notice this is kind of a big block here. So we want to break it up to make it easy to read. So the first thing I'm going to do is right at the end of this word, right before rather, the S here. And so I'm just going to hit enter. And you'll notice now up here, we've got a little line break. Now I'm going to create another line break right here. So that makes it a little easier to read. So it says this is where we start typing. So the thing to do is to really write like you talk. See? And I'll put a line break after C too, to really break that up and make it easy. So now as we scroll down here, I will say, look, like how I started with that last sentence with the word so. Nobody's every, well, look, why would I say every? I misspelled that. So nobody's ever written, there we go, written like that in a professional article. But who cares? So what I'll do is I'll have another line break here just to make it look kind of better. And no one's ever written like that in a professional article, but who cares? Now I'll have another line break here. It gets read, and if you want to sell, people got to read it. Now the next thing we need here is some subheads. You know what? Speaking of subheads, why don't we make the word subheads a subhead? Right? So it'll look cool. So what I like to do is good old-fashioned Gary Halbert style. I'll put an ellipses after the word some. I'll have a line break here where I want the subhead to be. And then I always do that. I double click here thinking it's going to edit, but you got to edit down here. So I'll highlight the word subheads. I'll center it. So now you'll notice it's centered there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's have this guy be size 26. I'm going to put it a little capital letter there, make it look a little better. Exclamation point. And let's have it bolded. Whoops, made it a little too small there. Size 26 again. There we go. And I'll make it bold. Boom. So now we've got a subhead. See how easy that was? So now if we want to resume writing, I'll just hit enter. And I don't want it to be centered anymore. So now we're back to normal. And I'll say, let's resume. Whoops. So see, it's fairly easy to format the text. Now, one thing in your writing here to really make this stuff easy to read is we want to bold and italicize important things. So I'll bold the word write like you talk. I'll make that bold. And then the word see, I'll italicize it by highlighting and pressing the I button there. Right? And then I'll italicize the words who cares. Right? And I'll bold if you want it to sell, people gotta read it. I'll bold that sucker right there. I'm gonna put an extra space in front of the word now just to give me a little bump there. Okay, and now that's looking pretty good. So it's really easy to format your text, right? So now let's say that you've got a testimonial or something, or you want to break up this page a little bit more with another element. Well, thankfully that's easy to do. So first let's start with a testimonial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this little editor here. So let's just have a better view of our whole page. And I'm going to drag this thing. Now this is a box. Now let's say I want to put the testimonial inside the box here. And I want the box to be in the middle. And I want the box to be a different color. All right, well, first thing is I'll size this box just by dragging it around. I'll make sure it's centered, like I got my green line there. Now for the box, when you double click it, you'll notice over here we have background qualities of this box, background properties. So we can choose a different color if we want to. All right, so how about we do that? We'll move to different color spectrum. I think I'll go with like this kind of tan color here, and we just choose these colors by dragging this little dude around here, and there we go. Super light there. I'll click choose, and there we go. That's a nice little box. All right, now if we want to get even fancier, we can give it a border here, and we can round the borders by sliding this guy right here. Well, it looks like, yeah, there we go. You see there? So as I slide this guy, the borders of this little box become kind of an oval. And we can change the size of this box now too. So now that we've got the box, we can move it up here to make it sort of look easier. And now we can take our text and we can drag it right here onto this box. So Now I will double click this guy and edit him, and we'll start typing. Now I'll type some stuff again and show you how I can format this in a different font and make it fit within the box to look cool, to break up your article or your sales letter or whatever you want to do. Typed all this stuff in here, and as you can tell, it's not formatted very well at all. So the first thing we're going to do is, you notice that we got some issues here. The text is going outside of the box and it's all jumbled up here in the middle. So I'm just going to resize my text box, see if I can get it to kind of fit in okay in there. Now it fits for now, but probably because I'm going to want to break this up and change my font size, this colored box here is going to need to be bigger. So I'll just resize it and drag it a little bit. I can always change this later. So now let's mess around with this text a little bit. The first thing we'll do is, because I really want it to stand out, I'm going to change my font. I'll change it to Courier New. I like that contrast. I'm going to make Courier New size 20. And it's already at line height 32, so that stands out pretty good there, right? So now let's make the formatting of this text and the layout of this text look a little bit better. So the first thing I'll do is I'll make a little line break right here, and I'll correct the spelling, testimonial. There we go. I'll correct that spelling, and I'll bold this just to make it easier to read. All right? So that looks nice. And then I'll put another line break here. I'm crazy about a line break. You see how it makes everything just that much easier to read, right? So I'm just going to put in my line breaks now. And let's see, I want a line break to go right here. So right before the word whatever. So I'll have that there, and then I'll have a line break after whatever, because I think that reads a little better. And I will have the last sentence on its own line too, and I'll correct this little typo. So I always want to start trying to type here, but as you know, we got to type down here at the bottom. So I'll have that read properly there. So now I will italicize the word whatever, just for something, just to give it a little break up in there. Add a little contrast, and I'm going to italicize, or rather bold, draw the reader's eye to them, because that bolding is going to draw the reader's eye to it. And I think that's just kind of a cool double ninja tactic there. I'm bolding to draw the reader's eye to the words draw the reader's eye. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but now we still have this problem. It's just looking a little weird. So I will just re-highlight this brown box here, and I'll just drag it down to line it all up. So now we got a nice looking box there, right? So we've broken this text up. This is where a testimonial could go. It doesn't matter, right? You don't have to have the box right here. You could have it wherever you want it, or you don't have to have one at all. I'm just showing you how easy it is to make stuff cool looking here in good old Unbounce. Pretty cool looking, right? So what else can we do to get more readership? If you remember, we want to break up the text with bold. We want to break it up with subheads. We can break it up with colored boxes, with quotes, with font changes. But do you remember what else we can do to break it up and increase readership? That's right. Mon frère, it is, or mon sister, if you happen to be a lady. I don't know the French term for that. It is good old-fashioned bullets. So here is how we put the bullets on the page. Unbounce, and all of their awesomeness, has this great library of images, including bullet images you can use. Now there's two ways to do bullets. There is like kind of the traditional way, and I'll just show you this in about 5 seconds, where you drag a text box over and then we just click on right down here, this little bulleted list thing, and you see how our bullet appears here. And that's kind of cool, but dude, why don't we do it really, really cool, all right? So I will get rid of this by just highlighting this and clicking the delete trash can icon right up here at the top. And let's add some fancy badass bullets, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to drag an image over here. And you will not see this My Images because I've used Unbounce for a long time and I've uploaded all of these images here on various pages I've built. But what you will see is a library called Unbounce Public Images. And check this out. They have 649 and counting images that we can use. And you got your arrows, you got little phone looking things here. Which, you know, I don't know why you would use that, but you might. You got various arrow circle thingies you can use. You got pictures of chicks and dudes and background images and little badges. You can stick some text in there. A little thing that says free, a little thing that says new, woohoo, right? Little best value background thingies if you're building like an order page or something. And of course, if we scroll down up in here, we have bullet images, such as the bullet dot green right here, or the checkbox square, haha, or the little plus button, which would be kind of a weird bullet image, or small arrow, or small checkbox, or you name it, right? Well, that's kind of a fancy looking bullet image there. So which one do you want to use? We have all manner of them we can choose from. Well, now it's getting kind of fun, isn't it, to sort of scroll through all of these. What do you think we should select up in her? I think I'll go with, where was it? I like this little bullseye bullet. So we'll just select that guy right here. Now I've got him selected, and now we just click on choose. Ding, and it's going to load our image, and now we can drag this image wherever we want. All right, so I like to line it up. You see, notice how it lines up. That little green line appears when we've lined it up with this box. So now it's all nice and symmetrical looking, right? So next thing we want to do is we want to add some text. So all we do is we're just going to drag a text box over here beside this bullet. We'll kind of line them up right there so it'll look good, and then we'll just double click it and we'll edit it. So I'll type some stuff in here for you so you don't have to watch me type. I'll pause it. So let's get down on it. So as you can see, I made the bullet text kind of long, and you know, our little text box is kind of weird as usual. So I'm just going to drag this over here. And we can drag it to format where it'll come dead even with the end of this brown box here, or beige box here, right? And incidentally, why don't we raise this guy up, make it a little closer to the box there. I like the way that looks a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so I made the bullet kind of long, and I added a lot of text so I can show you how to format it here. So I'll just hit select, or rather a Command A to select all of these, and let's make it back to our font. Do you remember what it was? I do. It was good old Lato, size 20, line height 32. There we go. So this is kind of cool, but it's a little bit jumbled up together. So how about I'll make a line break right after the word long there. I'll just hit enter, and I'll make a line break after the word right, just to make that nice and good looking. And then I will make a line break right after the heck, and I will, just to make it cool looking, italicize, might as well go the extra mile there. You know, put a little line break there too. I'm crazy about a line break. I just like to make everything a lot easier for people to read. I recommend you do the same. All right, so that's how we add the text here. So if we want to do it again, all we do, well, we have two choices really. We could drag another image over here and reselect this bullet, or I could just highlight this bullet, and I could come up here to the top. I can click on duplicate, ding, and now I've copied that bullet. And I can just drag him right down here. Whoops. See how it's lining up? See how my green line here kind of helps me line it up with this with the other bullet? So I'm lining it up properly. I'll drag it down a little bit, and then if you really want to be fancy, I can highlight this text box. I can hit duplicate. I can drag the text box down here, and then let's get this guy all nice and aligned properly. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, hold tight. There we go. I can drag this text box down here, and I can just re-edit some more text. See here? So I can just put, here's Mo text. Holla! Because that's always professional. Holla when you do it like that, right? So I'll just format that guy there properly. Now you can see what a smaller bullet point looks like. as if that's going to be a mystery to you, but, you know, might as well be thorough. We'll size this guy to 20. Line height's all set. And now that I've changed the sizing of it, I'll move him around a little bit. So there we go. I like the way that looks. Just like that. See, and you can just continue to add more and more bullet points as you desire, like in that same fashion, right? So as many as you want. So it's pretty simple to build cool looking pages using unbounce like this, isn't it? I mean, we have really formatted this guy out to look just fantastic. Now, let's say we're down to the point where you're wanting to send them to take the action that you want them to take, whether it's go to another page or go to your sales letter or go to a webinar registration form or anything like that. It's super easy. We will put some text in here, and now I won't make you watch me format the text. I'll just show you how to make a hyperlink in here. It's pretty easy. So I'll just type, this is a link, like that, because that's the right way to pronounce link. And down here in your text editor, super easy. I'll, of course, just because I'm a little OCD here, I'll have it the right font. Even though this is a demo, I still want my fonts to be right. And I will highlight this guy, and then look, see this little world with the link here? You just highlight it, and you paste in your link. There we go. That's linking to my own article, and everything's cool. And we'll just click on OK. Ta-da, it's now a link. And I'll move it over here to fit properly. Okay, and that's it. There you go. So that's how you format these articles using Unbounce. So Unbounce is freaking great, you know, for this kind of stuff, for building custom opt-in pages, for doing unbelievable customization. It also split tests for you. Now, we're not done, by the way. I want to show you how to publish this guy. So the first thing we want to do is we want to hit save. And that took about a second. And then we close the editor over here by just hitting this X. Ding, ding, ding. And now it says, as you can see, this page is unpublished. So you click on over here and you click on publish page. And you can see it says, hold on a minute. The page is publishing. Hold your gosh dang horses. And now it's live. So I'll just click on this URL and we'll see the live page. So this is what it looks like, all said and done. See? Looks super cool. Now, obviously, you wouldn't want to publish a page exactly like this because it doesn't really make a lot of sense without having, you know, a conclusion and everything. But clearly, this is a demo that I made for you. So this is how you do it. And of course, Unbounce themselves, they have lots of tutorials. They have all kinds of custom themes you can order from Theme Forest as well for really cool new opt-in page design, responsive design. It's really one of the coolest tools ever. A little more complex than Unbounce and Megaphone, but hey, really, really ninja. And of course, as you can see, it integrates with Aweber, it integrates with Infusionsoft as well, it integrates with Salesforce if you happen to love complexity and you use them. Integrates with all kinds of stuff, right? So really, really beautiful solution. So that's how we build this. So now that we've built it, let's talk about using this in a follow-up campaign setting dynamically. Okay, so I'll conclude this video here, and I'll meet you in the next one where we go through using this in a campaign.